Good day, everyone. Can you guys hear me all right? Let me just double check my microphone settings. Is everyone able to hear me? Hello? Testing. Hello? Right. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So then welcome to the today's webinar of EnRoute about the vector editing tools in software. So we'll be starting with the teaching segment, which will take about 20 to 30 minutes, and after which we'll have a Q&A session. We'll be discussing the vector editing tools, namely the point editing tools, extending, trimming contours, filleting contours, and the joining and welding of contours. So let's get right to it. For today's presentation, we'll be using EnRoute 6. We'll be using the complete version, and we will be running build 6.1.0.20. So for the vector editing tools, you'll be able to access them through the draw menu, through the edit, trim, extend, fillet, join, offset contours, and through the transform menu as well, for merging selections, exploding them, converting curves to arcs, and reversing open contours. So to start out, I'll simply draw a poly arc with some line segments. Here we have the point editing tools, which will be your bread and butter if you are going to be working with contours. First one here is the point edit tool, which you can use to select the contours and you can also set it to show more details about the segments that you're hovering over. So here you'll see the symbol of a line. So this is a line segment. You'll see the length, angle, the start and end point. Same for this one. For this one here, you'll see that is a Bezier curve. If you click on it, you'll also notice that you'll be able to move these handles around to modify the curves. This one here again is just a line segment, but if you click on it and you hold down and drag, you can modify it to an arc. For the arc segments, you'll also get a bunch of information here about the arc itself. Just gonna uncheck the show details because we will not be needing it. Through right-clicking in the point editing tool, you'll be able to insert points, delete points, convert the line to a curve, convert the arc to a curve or a line. You can also cut the contour, which will cut the contour at the spot that you've chosen. As you can see now, the line's been cut into. Through the right-clicking, you also have the possibility to close the contour, which will simply draw a line from the start to the end point and connect them. Further in here, you have the possibility to linearize a selection. So for that, you will choose a start point and an end point. If you want to move the endpoint, it's always possible. By right-clicking, you also go a step back. So going back to the first one here, once you've chosen them, simply hit enter and it will modify the selection. Also here, the pink line will show you how it will be. Well, it will give you a preview of the change. The next one is the insert corner tool, which will allow you to insert a corner segment. It will generate a corner automatically based on the selection that you make. So you can go back here and change this around. But as you can see, when we drag it, it will change the angle and the size of the corner. Again, hitting enter will confirm your selection. The smooth approximation tool will allow you to make a Bezier curve of a section of your selection. Here, you'll be able to change these angles there. And once you hit enter here as well, it will confirm and apply your selection. The last option we have here is something which will allow you to add noise to your contours. I'll be using that to show you how to work with the tools in a more practical example. We'll maybe already import the file that we are going to use. So we'll import the Aces High file here. Let's give that a moment to load. So I'll simply grab one of these contours here. We can delete the rest, and we'll use this one to show you how to regenerate this shape. So we'll just hit F2 to rotate it along the x-axis for 180 degrees. And then we'll just hit OK. Of course, as you can see, this one is pretty much a perfect contour. So what we can do is we use the noise function to make it look like it was a badly vectorized bitmap. So here we'll choose our wavelength, we'll choose an amplitude horizontal amplitude, so the variation across the wavelength. The jitter is the randomized factor, and a vertical amplitude would vary the contour in the z-axis, but we'll not use that here. We'll just hit preview to see what this will do. Just go back and copy this so we can see the difference. And so using our point editing tools, in a minute, we'll try to regenerate this shape from this one. So I'll just move this aside for a second. I will draw another line here. So for our next option here, we have the extension and the trimming of lines, which I'll just drag out here. So as you can see, when we select the line, we have the possibility to extend this one. We can do so by graphic, by precise length, or by a boundary. So by graphic, you would simply just have to click and drag, and you'll see that it will follow the last direction of the curve. And then clicking again will confirm your selection. By length here, you could set a fixed length of 50, for example, and then just click on sections of 50 on your contour. You also have the possibility to extend by a boundary. For this, we'll have to draw a second line. So let's just go here, and then we'll go back to the extension function. Choose by boundaries. We'll select our boundary first, and then we'll extend our shape, and you'll see it'll automatically go to that boundary. The trim function works in a similar manner, so you can simply click and drag it back. You can also do so by length, so sections of 30. Now we can just click on our contour and reduce it. For this one, by boundary works in the same way. So we'll just clear the boundaries, select this one as a boundary. And then once we select trimming, we can either go trim from the left or right of this boundary right here. The next option would be to add fillets to a contour. For this one, I'll just draw a line with some corners in there. So this tool will allow you to add a radius to your contours. You can do so corner by corner. And just like this, set the radius like that. And here you'll also have the preview. If we hit apply, it will apply that, of course. You also have the possibility to do that for the entire contour, and here you can select to do that for the inside corners, the outside corners, or all corners. If we select the contour, you'll see the inside corner is the corners, or the corners to the right hand side. So this is the direction that the contour follows. And the outside corners will be the left on the left hand side here. Or you can simply choose to do so on each corner. You can also just chamfer them. And here there's also a checkbox to keep the original. So in this case, we would still have both of them. Here we also have the possibility to join contours. So I'll just draw multiple contours. And then just go here, select this option. You can choose your endpoint from one contour and start point of another. And like that step through your entire file. I'm sure most of you have already used the offset closed contour option. So if you select that here, you simply choose your number of contours and the spacing that you would like to create between them, and then either the outline or inline. Another possibility you have here is to simply offset sections of your contour. So you choose the offset, you click on a section, and then you click either on the left or right side, and it will offset that section for you by the amount that you've specified here. Excuse me. So the next tool that we've come to for the next functionality, I will simply show you with a few rectangles. Which is easiest to explain. So the welding here, standard welding, it will join these together, create a common outline for both objects. The second one here, we have weld common, so the overlapping parts will be welded. And the last one we have here, that will be the weld subtract. So based on our first selection, it will remove all of the subsequent selections from that first part. So more in here, we also have the jigsaw weld. The most standard example would be, let's say, if you're routing a kitchen countertop and it's too large for your router, or it needs to be transported in parts, and you can create a line through the middle. Maybe not this one, but something like this. And then you can use the jigsaw weld tool to grab these two parts from there, which you can then route on your router separately. And this line will help you during the installation to reposition the two parts back together. So finally here, we also have the cut by line tool. If you cut through parts, it will simply make a cut where the line was. But if you have a closed shape and you cut through it with this, it will create two other closed shapes from it, as you can see right here. So from the transform menu, you here have the possibility to also explode the selected contour, so each segment will be cut into a separate line. You can also convert curves to arcs through here, reverse open contours, so it'll simply change the direction. You can see the arrow move here. And you also have the possibility to merge your selection back together. It will ask you here to put in a merge tolerance. And as you can see here, it will have a closed shape again. When you're importing DXF files, you may have to apply this as well, because they could come in as all separate lines. You also have the possibility in the preferences to set this up by default, so to merge contours on import or on paste. So if you then copy paste something, it will apply this tolerance into merging these contours together. So after having discussed most of these tools, are there any questions so far? If not, then I will continue with our example. So what I'll do is I will use the point editing tools to regenerate this shape. So let's just view this as a badly vectorized shape. And once you select it here, basically I'm going to use the edit points that we have here, the edit contours, and we'll use mainly the edit points, the linearization of a curve section, and the smooth approximation tool for this one. So basically here I would select this part and this part, hit enter, and that will clean up any points that we do not need. And we can do the same thing, for example, let's see, for here and here, and the same for this one and this one. And afterwards, we can use the edit points to drag this into a arc. And we have something that already resembles our original shape here. Afterwards, I'm going to use, for the rest, mainly the smooth approximation tool. So I'll just select a section here. Notice that we'll have to change that here. And this way, we'll clean up our shape. In many cases, the suggestion that you get will already be okay, but you can apply this multiple times to get a smoother curve. So if you, let's say, zoom in here and then go here, just move that like this using these handles. And you can do that same selection here. So after having done this, we already have something that kind of resembles our original shape. If it's really a vectorization that you're doing, it would import the, or use the file that you vectorized to overlay this, and then just go through these steps multiple times in order to get the right shape. So here, you can just drag these down, move these points here, to generate our original shape. If you have something that almost resembles your original part, what you can then simply do is, through the edit points, you can simply select certain points and it will still give you those handles to do the final touches. For example, here you also, with the edit points tool, you can simply select a point and delete it. And there's another functionality that you can use is if you select a part, a segment, point, whatever, you can set the start and end point of those. So in this section, the green part will be the start point and the red part will be the end point. And you can simply put in the absolute coordinates for this one. Just step back here and reselect it. So hitting F2 will give you the precision input. And then for the X, for example, we can move this to 400. And what that'll do is simply set an absolute coordinate for that point. So if we unselect our tool, we can always use the Control-Z function to step back. Through our transform menu, we also then have the possibility, let's say if we only want to have arcs, we can convert all these curves to arcs, and then you'll see if you reselect it, that it will be many more segments of which the shapes consisted of. So this is basically everything you need to modify the contours that you vectorized, or also what you can use to design and reshape those designs. If you have any questions about those, please feel free to ask them. Or any other question that you might have regarding EnRoute. The tools in EnRoute are indeed quite powerful. I'm not sure if I can say they're better in Flexi. They're a bit different. I prefer working with both. Some are more adapted, let's say, to what you need in one software. But overall, ease of use for me, because maybe because there's less options, I like to use the EnRoute editing tools to modify contours. But I can't really say that they're better or worse than the ones in Flexi. Yes, and a copy of this video will be sent via email to all of the attendees as well. So no need to worry about that. You can review it later if you're working with the tools themselves. So if there's any more questions, or if you think of more questions at a later time, you can always reach us on our support email address or through the website. There's also a bunch of information on the SAI channel on YouTube. So unless there's more questions, I think we can conclude the webinar if anyone has any other questions. If not, I'd like to thank you all for attending, and we'll see you on the next webinar. All right. You're welcome. Thank you all for attending. Have a good day and stay safe.